Good evening and thanks for being here. I'm Devin Bates, filling in for Lauren Maloney tonight. Well, from the nation's capital, in the past few hours, President Trump has announced a wave of presidential pardons. Now, among the 15 people pardoned, former Republican Representatives Duncan Hunter of California and Chris Collins of New York. Trump also announced a pardon for George Papadopoulos. Papadopoulos was Trump's 2016 campaign advisor, whose conversation unwittingly helped trigger the Russia investigation that shadowed Trump's presidency for nearly 2 years. Last month, Trump pardoned former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, who had twice pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI and months earlier commuted the sentence of another associate, Roger Stone, days before he was to report to prison. And President Trump now says he won't sign the COVID relief bill passed by Congress last night. The president had earlier indicated he would sign the bill into law, and now Congress and millions of American households desperate for aid left with yet more uncertainty. Elizabeth Schulze is in Washington with the latest tonight.
In a stunning turn of events, President Trump now says he won't sign the massive spending and COVID relief bill passed by Congress after months of negotiations. In a video released on Twitter, the president demanding Congress amend the bill to increase the amount of money in the stimulus checks and remove other spending provisions.
I'm also asking Congress to immediately get rid of the wasteful and unnecessary items from this legislation and to send me a suitable bill, or else the next administration will have to deliver a COVID relief package.
The House and Senate both overwhelmingly approved $900 billion in COVID relief late Monday.
The American people have waited long enough.
The bill extends emergency jobless benefits and an eviction moratorium that were set to expire at the end of the year. It adds $300 in weekly federal unemployment benefits and provides nearly $300 billion in aid to small businesses, plus more than $8 billion for distributing the vaccine. And it includes a one-time payment of up to $600 for individuals making up to $75,000 per year. So a family of 4 could receive $2,400. But President Trump now says those payments should be higher.
I am asking Congress to amend this bill and increase the ridiculously low $600 to $2,000 or $4,000 for a couple.
That demand is unlikely to be popular among some members of Congress who said the price tag of the COVID relief bill was already too high. The COVID relief deal was months in the making and comes attached to a $1.4 trillion spending bill to keep the government funded through September. Up against the clock with government funding set to run dry, lawmakers raced to pass a one-week stopgap spending bill to buy more time for the larger piece of legislation to go into effect. President Trump had previously indicated he would sign the COVID relief deal, and his comments tonight mainly took issue with the government spending provisions in the larger funding bill. President-elect Joe Biden applauded the deal earlier today, but insisted Congress will still need to pass additional stimulus under his administration. Elizabeth Schulze, Washington.
Governor Phil Scott and other state leaders are pleased to see case numbers trending downward. As a result, the Green Mountain State will be lifting some restrictions. Local 22's Jolie Sherman has more from today's coronavirus briefing.
As the region sees a 4% decrease in cases, Commissioner Michael Piczek with the Department of Financial Regulation says there's reason for optimism.
For this is the first time in 16 weeks that our regional week-over-week case count has actually decreased.
Piczek says there are more than 500 counties in our travel region. Of the 10 with the lowest active case counts, 8 are located in Vermont, reflecting the state's strong handle on the virus.
Our positivity rate continues to trend down, with the 7-day average below 2% for the first time in December.
These downward trends result in the Scott administration loosening restrictions tied to gatherings.
Gathering with one other trusted household will be allowed from December 23rd through January 2nd.
After the holidays, the Scott administration will evaluate patterns and behaviors. Those who plan to celebrate with others are encouraged to get tested within 7 days. But Governor Scott makes clear, gathering with more than one household is not permitted.
You don't have to look any further than the hockey outbreak in South Vermont to see how dangerous one tailgate party can be.
A gathering that resulted in numerous other outbreaks across the state. But Governor Scott says these small guidance changes come at the right time.
We thought that this was a step forward back to where we were pre-Halloween in some respects, and thought we could start mitigating our way back out of this. So one small, very, very small step at a time.
Governor Scott warns Vermonters to gather responsibly, especially if you have family members who are 65 or older. Jolie Sherman, Local 22 News, Montpelier.
The Vermont Public Utility Commission has once again directed the state's regulated utilities to stop any disconnection of utility service due to non-payment. That includes electricity, natural gas, or landline phone bills. This direction will last through March 31st of 2021. Now, March of this year, the Commission first called on utility companies to suspend disconnection of utility services over unpaid bills due to the pandemic. That initial direction had ended in mid-October to allow residents to apply for grant money through Vermont's COVID Arrearage Assistance Program. Now that the program has ended and health officials expect a worsening pandemic during the winter months, the Commission has decided to reinstate the program. And now let's take a look at the COVID case counts around the region. In Vermont, 63 new cases tonight. 29 of those cases are in Chittenden County. 36 people are in the hospital, 9 in the ICU, and 1 new death reported in Vermont. In the Granite State, 624 new positive cases today, 14 of those in Grafton County and 10 in Sullivan County. And in New York's North Country, 25 new positives in Clinton County, 22 new cases in Franklin. In Essex County, 13 more people tested positive today as well. Well, Governor Andrew Cuomo says New York expects to have received 930,000 coronavirus vaccine doses by the end of next week. The governor told reporters that he's asking healthcare workers to take advantage of the supply by working through the holidays to speedily vaccinate all nursing home residents and staffers. He said about 50,000 people have received doses so far. New York is among the vast majority of states that have seen falling or flattening COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations over the past week. And millions of Americans are traveling for the holidays despite increasingly dire health warnings to stay at home. Anita Vogel has the latest from Los Angeles.
Airports across the country are busy with travelers. AAA estimates 85 million people will travel home over the holiday.
I think we all are scared of COVID, during our daily life. So I think this is something I have to do, just to see my family a couple of days and then come back.
People are making their way through airports, ignoring the pleas of public health officials. The 7-day rolling average of COVID infections in the U.S. has increased from about 176,000 a day before Thanksgiving to more than 215,000 now. Doctors say it's too early to know how much of that current increase is due to Thanksgiving gatherings. Before travelers make their trip for Christmas, some are waiting in long lines trying to get a COVID-19 test.
We've seen it increase by about 50%. I expect it to double or even triple in the next 2 or 3 days.
I'm going to be seeing my mom and grandmother for Christmas, so I just want to make sure that I'm negative, of course. My grandmother is 90, so.
For those who decide to travel, public health officials have advice to reduce the spread.
Well ventilated. Be outside, excuse me, if you can. Make sure you're quarantining.
Health experts say just because someone tests negative doesn't mean they still can't be exposed during travel or that the virus isn't incubating in their system.
We're always keeping you up to date online as the nation marks new records in the fight against the virus. You can just head over to our website, mychamplainvalley.com. And tonight, Santa himself made a stop in St Albans before he heads back to the North Pole. But even for him, this year is going to look a little different. Local 22's Dana Casulo has more.
Go to bed early. Okay.
Santa stopped by the People's Trust Company in St Albans to talk to children through the teller lane and to hand out candy canes. Each car went through the drive-through lane at the bank. Santa wants the children to know he is safe and ready to go come Christmas.
I got my shot yesterday. They flew in from up to the North Pole and administered the shots to myself and to all the elves. So we're good to go. We're good to go in any house we want to go, and it'll be like a regular Christmas come Christmas morning.
The children were able to drop off letters to Santa if they haven't already. But even for Santa, he had to adjust his ways this year to deliver presents safely.
It's just the way we're loading up the sled and making sure that when we go house to house, we keep clean and make sure that we follow the COVID rules.
Business Development Officer and Marketing Manager at People's Trust Company says he wanted to come up with a plan to make it safe for everyone to still see Santa.
So they're waiting in the drive-thru, and they can even be just one back, and they can't see Santa. The first car releases, and then they roll in, and then you can watch the children's faces. They're hanging on mom or dad's window.
Cummings says this is a magical and authentic experience.
It just fills my heart to watch the magic of these kids and envision what they're having.
And most importantly, Santa wants all the children in Vermont to remember one thing when they leave out the cookies and milk.
Leave me some Vermont maple syrup in a little cup because I like to dunk my cookies in maple syrup.
Dana Casulo, Local 22 News, St. Albans.
Didn't know Santa liked maple syrup. You learn something new every day. Well, the good and the bad news from today. Coming up, we'll uncover what exactly happened in the UVM Medical Center cyber attack. And we'll explain why Burlington's top cop is urging City Council to reverse a controversial decision.
And temps are starting to fall. We're down to the 20s north, 27 in Plattsburgh, 29 in St. Johnsbury, and Burlington to the 30s south, 35 in Lebanon, 32 in Rutland. Colder air and drier air as well. That drier air putting an end to the snow for now. More in your forecast.
You're watching Local News That Matters with Lauren Maloney, Sky Tracker Chief Meteorologist Amanda Tebow, and Sports with Frank DeLuca. This is Local 22 News at 11. Local News That Matters on Local 22 News.
Well, it would appear malware was the cause of the UVM Medical Center cyber attacks that took down their system 2 months ago. According to the hospital, the files and data behind its infrastructure and application servers were corrupted. Although UVM had backups for all 1,500 servers affected, they had to wipe those servers clean and rebuild them. Senior Vice President of Network Information Technology, Doug Gentile, calls it a huge undertaking. The attack also spread malware to over 5,000 user devices.
If there's any good news in an event like this, it's that there is absolutely no evidence that any of our patient or employee data was accessed or extracted from the medical center. At this point, we're confident that the hackers didn't obtain any patient information or any other sensitive information.
Gentile says that currently 80% of the 600 applications across the medical center have been restored. They hope to have all of them restored by the end of January. And police have arrested a man in connection with a shooting in Newport last month. They say 27-year-old Dante Flowers was arrested on December 18th for unlawful restraint in connection to the shooting near 187 Waterfront Plaza. Flowers is also facing federal drug and gun charges. He's being held and awaiting trial. Meanwhile, the man police believe fired the gun, 26-year-old Laquan Flintroy, is still at large. And Burlington's acting police chief John Murad is calling on the city council to reverse a decision that prevents the department from hiring new officers. This as the department faces its lowest number of sworn officers in 3 decades. Local 22's Courtney Kramer reports.
A good plan done in time beats the best plan done too late any day. We are getting to a position where any plan, good, best, terrible, is going to be coming in too late.
Acting Police Chief John Murad says action needs to be taken as the department is facing a significant loss in officers. He's calling on the city council to allow him to once again hire police officers. This stems from a resolution passed in June that blocks them from doing so until they reach a headcount of 74. Right now, there are 81 sworn officers in BPD, but Murad points out the hiring process takes at a minimum 14 months.
We have to start hiring now, because if we only start hiring when we get to 74, we will fall further still to positions that really become unsafe for this city.
Murad says officers won't be able to respond to calls between 3 a.m. and 7:30 a.m. if staffing issues continue. He's created a plan that would hire civilian employees to respond to some calls rather than sworn armed officers. But still, he says this is not a quick fix.
There's going to be a period where we're not able to meet those obligations. Neither of those processes can happen quickly enough to prevent the service disruptions that we're going to experience.
Murad plans to attend the next city council meeting to further the discussion on this. Reporting in Burlington, Courtney Kramer, Local 22 News.
The Vermont Department of Public Safety says a Blue Alert drill planned for earlier this month has been rescheduled to next week. The Blue Alert is used when a law enforcement officer has been seriously injured, killed, or is missing in the line of duty. As part of the exercise on December 30th, messages will be sent to thousands of subscribers, and information about the drill will be on the Vermont Agency of Transportation boards. TV and radio stations will get texts. Phone alerts will only be sent to people who signed up for VT Alert. The Vermont Attorney General's office has settled with the South Burlington business and its owner over what the office called a price gouging scheme involving masks sold to Central Vermont Medical Center. Shelley Palmer, owner of Big Brother Security Programs, Inc., must provide 80,000 personal protective equipment items to the Berlin Hospital and 10,000 to the state to be distributed around Vermont. A.G. Donovan had sued Palmer and his business, saying Palmer had imported surgical masks from China that cost 10 cents each and sold them to the Berlin Hospital for $2.50 each. Now, Palmer said that was a business decision. The Justice Department is suing Walmart, alleging the company unlawfully dispensed controlled substances through its pharmacies, helping to fuel the opioid crisis in America. The civil complaint being filed today points to the role Walmart's pharmacies may have played in the crisis by filling opioid prescriptions and by unlawfully distributing controlled substances to the pharmacies during the height of the opioid crisis. Walmart operates more than 5,000 pharmacies in its stores across the country. The Justice Department's action comes nearly 2 months after Walmart filed its own preemptive suit against the federal government. And the wheels are in motion for Vermont winter sports to begin. Coming up, find out the new plan Governor Phil Scott announced today for youth and school-based sports.
And we have a quiet middle of the week over here in the world of weather, but by Christmas Eve, wet and windy things return. We're talking a lot of rain and the chance for power outages too by the time you're opening presents on Christmas morning. That's next.
Local news that matters on Local 22 News. Now, your Sky Tracker forecast with Chief Meteorologist Amanda Tebow.
These snow showers are still hanging around for us in some upslope northwesterly flow, but that northwesterly wind bringing in colder and drier air, helping to put an end to those last stragglers, which stretch from about Swanton to Richford, Montgomery, and then down towards around Warren. This all again comes to a close by the time the sun comes up tomorrow morning, and we actually get to enjoy a little bit of sunshine throughout our early Wednesday. That's before clouds fill back in and a boundary scoots by during the afternoon, bringing a brief round of light snow to far northern New York and northern Vermont. That's your Wednesday in a nutshell. Overall, pretty quiet day. Temps will start in the teens to low 20s, so we get fairly cold tonight once the snow comes to a close, and then we move to the low 30s tomorrow, actually making for a very seasonable day for late December. That then takes us to Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. We have got a mess on our hands. A lot of warmth, a lot of water with rain and snow melt, and potentially a lot of wind too. The wind is really where we start because we have got this increasing south wind throughout the day on Thursday that could gust in excess of 40 miles per hour. We actually want to keep our fingers crossed that the wind is more due south than out of the southeast. If it's out of the southeast, we're going to be able to steal some of the stronger gusts aloft higher up in the atmosphere across those peaks and downslope them along western facing mountain slopes, and that could lead to even bigger gusts. A due south wind, the Champlain Valley tends to bear the brunt of it when we've got that sort of setup, but gusts would be closer to about 40 miles per hour. So isolated to scattered power outages, not out of the question. Where? Depends on the wind direction. Then that gets us to the rain, and it will be rain because highs are in the 40s and 50s on Christmas Eve, and we stay there overnight into Christmas morning. About 3/4 of an inch of rain north to 2 inches of rain south. And where we've got those bigger rain totals is where we have a substantial snowpack that still stands at about 1 to 3 feet. That, of course, means a big load on top of roofs and also a lot of water to funnel into our area waterways. So something we're going to be watching for is sharp rises on places like the Otter Creek, the Mad River, and also the White River, as well as some smaller streams and tributaries. So rain is heaviest when you wake up early Friday morning, I should say when the kids wake you up early Friday morning. And then we've got this cold front swinging through during the afternoon. That puts an end to the big wind, but also brings the chance for a flash freeze, especially in New York through the Adirondacks on Friday, and maybe some scattered higher terrain snow showers is kind of the bow on top here. That's how we wrap this one up. By the weekend, we have highs in the upper 20s to around 30 degrees, so the 40s and 50s don't stick around for long. It looks like the ground turns brown or green again. We might be able to turn it white early next week. We've got a chance for snow again by Tuesday. This very busy forecast can always be found online. Make sure you check back tomorrow for updates at mychamplainvalley.com.
Definitely going to be one of those days for parents where hopefully you didn't, there's not too many outdoor gifts that will be used, coming in soaked from outside, you know, scooters and whatnot.
Yeah, we're probably unfortunately going to be stuck inside at least through the first half of the day. I mean, hopefully things quiet down by the afternoon.
All right, thanks Amanda. Well, coming up in sports, Vermont men's hoops is back at it today. Frank?
Yeah, Devin, looking for a little more success in day 2 against UMass Lowell. So coming up, we'll see if the Cats can close the series with a win or if the Riverhawks drop them to 0-2.
Local news that matters on Local 22 News. Now, Local 22 Sports with Frank DeLuca.
What's going on, everybody? For Vermont high schools, we're getting a slightly clearer picture of the winter sports season. That being said, it still looks like we're a ways away from where we need to be. Governor Phil Scott saying today that a phased restart of youth recreational and school-based sports will begin on December 26th. Phase 1 includes practicing with individual drills, but there will be no contact between athletes. They'll also have to keep their distance from one another and wear a mask at all times. It's a very limited start, sure, but it is a start. Governor Scott also notes that since schools will be on winter break when the restart begins, it's likely many will wait until early January. This plan does not include adult rec sports leagues, and spectators will continue to be prohibited from attending events. UVM Men's Hoops concludes its season opening series today. Game 1 against UMass Lowell didn't quite go as expected as the Cats lost their conference opener for the second year in a row, but they got a chance to get right back at it today, just less than 24 hours later. Yet, once again, the Riverhawks got right to it. Obadiah Noel sinks a three just 16 seconds in. Then a little later, Noel shows off some fancy handles as he drains another contested jumper. Lowell ahead 7-4. On the other end, it's Bailey Patella cutting in and throwing down. UVM would get its first lead of the season right after, but it wouldn't last for long. Late in the half, Bryce Daly bails out of his shot to find Connor Withers from beyond the arc. That's good. Vermont not having the same luck from 3, 0 for 9 in the first half. Cats go to the locker room down 7. Cats come out of the locker room a whole different team. They reclaim the lead, and then Isaiah Powell adds to it. The hoop and one, 31-28 UVM. Then it's Eric Beckett. Hallelujah! The 13th three-point of the attempt of the game finally falls, and now the Cats are clicking. Patella threads the needle for Nick Fiorillo. He caps off an 18-1 run in the second half as Vermont wins it big. Their Cats claim their first win of the season, 62-53 over UMass Lowell. And as we stick with hoops and go pro, the Celtics return to action tomorrow, but the NBA is back tonight. 18 months later, so is Kevin Durant. His Nets square off against Golden State to tip off the new season. KD and his former teammate Steph Curry exchange warm greetings during warm-ups, but come game time, KD is showing absolutely no remorse for his old team and also showing no signs of rust, getting it done in all 3 levels here. It only takes him 5 minutes to rack up double-digit points. Nets go up 10 in a hurry. Later in the first, though, Durant finds himself on the wrong side of a highlight. Check out Kelly Oubre, an absolutely posterizing put-back jam. That's fun. The score tonight, not as fun for the Warriors, but plenty fun for Kyrie Irving. The transition 3 here, 17 first quarter points for the former Celtic. Brooklyn already blowing this one wide open. And let's not forget, Steph Curry also seeing action for the first time in over 9 months. He missed most of last season with an injury, and he's looking good as new. His team has some work to do. Nets run the Warriors out of the building here. The season opener never really in doubt. Brooklyn takes it 125-99 at times, up by over 30. It really was kind of a coming out party for Durant in his new jersey, and playing with Kyrie, they gelled pretty well, and the team looks good.
Yeah, tough to watch the Warriors another year without Klay Thompson. I mean, the way that injury happened.
Such tough luck, really.
And but hey, if KD's game is any inclination today on what you can do after a significant injury like that, maybe there is still hope Klay Thompson can kind of come back and have another resurgence later in his career.
Exactly. You're rooting for him because, you know, he's been dealt a bad hand the last couple seasons, especially how good he was prior to this little injury speed bump.
The Warriors have not been dealt a rough hand in recent years, but
they're fine.
All right, we'll be right back with a final look at your forecast.
Local news that matters on Local 22 News. local news that matters on Local 22 News.
Back for one last look at the forecast. Amanda, I saw your headline earlier just said messy Christmas.
Yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up for us. It is going to be a mess. Unfortunately, not a snowy mess, which I know many were hoping for. We're talking rain and wind. Wind will get started first on Christmas Eve or during the day, and then as we hit the evening, that's when the rain will kick in, rain becoming heaviest overnight into early Christmas morning. Rainfall totals will taper off the farther north you go, but where we end up with the larger rain amounts, up to 2 inches, is where we have a very substantial snowpack that still stands at about 1 to 3 feet. That's a lot of melting snow and a lot of water. Could lead to sharp rises on aerial waterways, and depending on the exact direction of the wind and how our gusts peak, power outage is possible.
A lot of variables there. Thanks, Amanda. Thanks, Frank. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you here tomorrow at 6.
Follow Local 22.